What is up, friends? Welcome to another Live with Graham. I'm so glad you're here. I saw a bunch of you in the chat nice and early. If you are here live, would you give me a, hey, I can see you, I can hear you message in the chat so I know we're all working. I'm really, really excited for today's episode. We are going to talk about selling, how to sell more authentically, how to connect better with our prospects when we sell anything, courses, memberships, coaching, even just trying to sell, getting people to like care about your stuff. This will help you with your content. This will help you with writing blog posts, writing emails, all of it, man. All of it will help you. I'm really, really excited. Looks like people can hear and see. We got people from Greece. We got people from Mexico, from the US, from the UK. I love it. Okay, I'm not going to waste anybody's time. We're going to dive right in. We're going to be covering 3 simple things you can be doing to sell more through story that will help you not only sell more, but it'll be easier for you to sell. I think this concept will really just take a lot of the pressure off and make it easier for you to sell. But not just that, I want to give you a resource to help you out as well that you can go ahead and download. It is my 5-minute sales copy framework. Okay, what this is it's just a PDF. You download it. It's question and answers. So it's best if you want to print it out so you can write it down, or if you want to type inside of a PDF, but it's going to ask you questions about your customer. It's going to ask you questions about your product. It's going to ask you questions about you, and you just answer the questions. It should take about 5 minutes to answer the questions. That's why it's called the 5-minute sales copy framework. And then what it will give you, all those answers are going to give you the foundations for creating effective sales copy. So I'm trying to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, ask you the questions you need to be asking yourself to kind of lead you through the process if you don't know or if you haven't done this before. And then you're going to have this amazing Google Doc or whatever, wherever you store this stuff, of helpful phrases, information, stuff that you need to then bake into your sales copy. I think this will pair really nicely with what we're talking about today. But grab your copy. It's free. Go to grahamcochran.com/copy to get my 5-minute sales copy framework. Sound good? Awesome. Okay, so I want to dive into the teaching. As always, when we do these lives, I'm going to teach you for about 15, 20 minutes, sort of to the point, really actionable stuff here. And then I'm going to open the floor for questions since this is a live and there's a bunch of you here, which is awesome. So if you have questions about what we're talking about today, we'll take those questions at the end. I love it. People say the bookshelves looks awesome. Yeah. I ordered these bookshelves behind me 4 months ago. They finally came last week. So yay, I love it. Awesome. Okay, let's dive in. I'm going to pull up my content here. The quick question for you in the chat is, who is familiar with Donald Miller and his story brand framework? How to Build a Story Brand is a great book. Let me know in the chat if you have read Donald Miller's How to Build a Story Brand or Building a Story Brand. Donald Miller is an author in the fiction space originally, and then he started to build a marketing business based around storytelling. And he has this just great way of thinking about taking the frameworks of all good stories, the elements of every good story. What does a good movie need to have? What does a good book need to have? What does a good story need to have? He's found there's parallels there with storytelling, and then what connects with humans and what gets people to care, AKA get them to take action on something, AKA buy your stuff. So you got to read his book. He's got a bunch of other material as well, but that book is really a book that propelled his method forward. It's just a great read. And we're going to cover 3 of the things in that book that I think are helpful, that I've internalized, that I think make it simple. He has 7 steps of the framework. We're going to kind of boil them down to 3 today. And it's just going to give you 3 action steps here that are really, really practical. You ready? So when it comes to selling, and this is something that Donald talks about well, is you cannot sell unless you can, number 1, clearly know and articulate your customer's problem. Okay? Jay Abraham says this, the brands that can better communicate the customer's problem to them are going to be the ones that sell and win. Like, it's not who has the best product, is who can communicate to your customer their problem most clearly. Why is that true? Why does a guy like Jay Abraham say that? Why does Donald Miller say that? Because when you communicate someone's problem clearly to them, they feel known. They feel heard. They feel understood. Hey, this guy gets me. She totally understands what I'm going through. Yes. It's like they're nodding their head. Yes. That's why you see commercials like, have you ever struggled with blah, blah, blah? And you're like, yes. They're leading off with empathy. They're leading off with understanding your problem. So forget about your product. Forget about how awesome it is or what the features, the benefits are, or the price. Like, don't lead off with any of that. Lead off with understanding their problem. Can you clearly articulate it? So there's two types of problems that people have. There's the external problem, the obvious one that in theory your product solves, but there's the internal problem that's deeper than the external problem. So, fitness instructors, for example, are going to sell their course or their coaching, or their membership to the external problem of I'm overweight, or I want to lose weight, or I want to be healthier. But there's an internal problem. I feel unattractive. I feel like nobody will ever love me. I feel embarrassed to go to the beach and wear a bathing suit. Like, those are real deep internal problems that are more powerful than I want to lose weight. I want to look a little better. I want to be a little thinner. There's problems underneath that. Does that make sense? External, internal. So you want to clearly know and be able to articulate your customer's problem, both external and internal. And one way to think about this with a story is, what failure or bad ending to the story are they trying to avoid in their lives? What failure or bad ending are they trying to avoid? And then what success or happy ending are they trying to achieve? Right? Every good story has to have the potential of a bad ending. If there's no potential for a bad ending, there's no tension, there's no drama. Even in a comedy, like, it's just, if it's going to work out, then it's not really compelling. We don't think about it in those terms, but when you watch a good movie, even a funny comedy, there always is some problem that the main character or characters are in, and there has to be some real tension of a potential failure or like mess up. That has to be real and articulated, but there also has to be a real and articulated happy ending or success. And that success doesn't have to mean like you have millions of dollars. It could just mean like, getting, like, I was thinking about Russell Brand the other day, the movie Get Him to the Greek. Like, that whole movie is just trying to get him to the darn concert venue. Like, that's the success. And the failure is like, you can't get him there. And he's like, he's a failure to his employer to get the darn musician to the concert venue. So the point is, if you think about everyone's life, they want success and they want to avoid failure. So in your niche and in your business, what success do they want? Lead off with that. Like, if you can only understand one thing from today, it's like, know your customers' deep problems and know their deep desire. What failure are they trying to avoid, and what success do they hope to have? If you can't articulate that, it does not matter how much copy, or does not matter what formula you follow. It doesn't matter if you have a video or not, or if the button's blue or red, long copy, short copy. None of that matters. What matters is this basic foundational thing, right? So when you learn this stuff and start to write it out, and you have to just maybe think about it, and you know this by interacting with people, by the way. You know this by talking to your audience, by the way. That's why when you create free content on YouTube or places like this, it's great education for you to try out things, to see what content resonates, to get feedback with a comment below a video and find out what really matters to people. You don't know that in a vacuum. So you got to get out there, feel it. That'll help you sell it. But all of that turns into a great headline on your sales page. If you look at some of the best headlines or hooks on a sales page, they're usually aspirational, talking about the success. What if you could have a passive income business that generates $100,000 a year and requires only 5 hours a week? Like, whoa, that's not great copy. That's just for the right audience, potentially a happy ending, success. You're painting that picture. You're showing them like, do you want this happy ending? Yes. Do you struggle with this problem? Yes. Wow, that's powerful, right? So clearly know, that's number one, clearly know and articulate your customers' problems, both external and internal. So know the potential bad ending that you want to help them avoid, and what's the happy ending that they really want. If you can get that, you're going to win. Number two step to selling more and selling more easily through story is to remember your customer is the hero in the story. Customer is the hero in the story, and you are the guide. Okay? This is one of the greatest things that Donald Miller has ever brought to the world, is this distinction between hero and guide. He talks about every great story has a hero, and then every great story has a guide or a mentor. And it's obvious in some stories, a little less obvious in others. But every hero needs help to really self-actualize or reach the success, right? And so the problem with selling, or the problem with anything we do online, is we make it all about us. I got to be great. My videos have got to be great. My sales copy's got to be great. My product's got to be great. And when we write sales copy for our products or coaching or membership or anything, we get so insecure, and we honestly think if we just pump up how awesome we are and how awesome our product is, that will make people buy it. But all that's doing is putting us on the pedestal and making us the hero. We're not the hero. That's never going to connect with somebody. It might impress somebody, and there is a place for credibility and authority and social proof. I get it. But you never want to make yourself the hero. You got to flip it. The person reading your sales page is the hero in their own story, right? And they're trying to avoid a failure, bad ending. They're trying to achieve success, happy ending, and they're looking for help. So why don't you position yourself as the guide, that you come alongside them and help them be the hero of their story? So that takes so much of the pressure off. You don't have to be a guru with all the answers. You just have to simply exist to help them get what they want. I think Zig Ziglar is the one who said this. You can tell me if I'm misquoting him, that you can get anything you want in life as long as you help other people get what they want. So if you live your life focused on helping others get what they want, you will be able to have everything you want. Why? Because you will be invaluable. You will be attractive. You will be magnetic because you are that guide. Everybody's looking for a guide. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe you're looking to me as a guide to help you in your story. Why am I creating this content? To help you achieve success. What is the success that you're trying to achieve in this piece of content? Sell more. I'm here to help you sell more. What failure am I trying to help you avoid? Having an amazing product that nobody buys, and then you don't make money and you feel embarrassed and ashamed and frustrated. You spend all this time building a product that nobody buys. I'm the guide coming alongside you to be the hero in your story. You can be that for your customers, right? This is great because then you don't have to be amazing. You just have to be there to help guide your customer to success. This language comes out in your sales copy when you stop talking about you and your product all the time, and you spend more of your sales copy talking about your customer, their problems, their desires. Maybe you talk to them about what they might have already tried. All of this is them realizing, oh, he's talking to me. He's for me. He cares about me. They'll respect you for that. They'll pay attention to you for that. Yes. Oh, yes. I've tried that. That didn't work. Oh, yeah, I followed that advice. That didn't work. Yeah, you're right, Graham. Oh, my gosh. Do you have the answers? Like, I don't care about you, Graham, as much as I care about what you can do for me. No offense, Graham, and no offense taken. I get how this works. We're all looking for help. If you can use your sales copy, whether it's short or long, video or text, live or on a sales page, doesn't matter. If you can spend the majority of that sales process positioning yourself as the guide and helping them say, like, I have a plan for you. I have a plan for you, which is the third step. Okay. You go from clearly knowing and articulating their problems, both external and internal, like knowing deeply what they're struggling with and what they really want. And then remembering the difference. You are the guide. They are the hero, not the other way around. You're not the hero of the sales page. You're not the hero of your story. You're the guide helping them be the hero. Number three, you have to give them a plan. Right? In every good story, you have a hero who's trying to avoid a failure, reach some success. That hero comes alongside and meets a guide. And if it's a good story, that guide gives the hero a plan, not just good advice, not just some tips. They give them a step-by-step plan. Here's what you need to do, right? Whether it's Gandalf in, The Lord of the Rings, telling Frodo, here's what you got to do. You got to take this ring. You got to have a fellowship. You can't do it by yourself. You need some friends around you, some people. Go to the elves, and then you're going to go through the Misty Mountains. You have to go all the way to Mordor or whatever it's called. You're going to have to destroy this ring, right? Like Frodo doesn't get some tips like Gandalf says, you know what? Just watch out for the trolls. Like he gives him a plan. This is what you got to do, Frodo. And Frodo's like, crap, I don't want to do this. This sounds scary. I'm a little hobbit, right? Gandalf is the guide. Frodo is the hero. Gandalf gives Frodo a plan. He does the same thing with Bilbo in The Hobbit, right? So the beauty of this language for us is that literally what you're selling in your course or your community or your coaching is a plan. We are giving people a step-by-step plan, a simple one-off YouTube video, a simple podcast episode, a simple blog post isn't that plan. It's just a little piece of the plan. So it's a taste of what working with me as your guide could look like, but really buying my product allows me to give you a whole plan. So this is really logical at a sales page once you've addressed their problem and their dream and their desire, and you're pumping them up as the hero and you're the guide. Like, look, you can mention like, I've helped people reach this thing. Let me give you a plan that's going to help you achieve this happy ending. And they're like, I want the plan. You know what the plan is? It's my course. You know what the plan is? It's my coaching. You know what the plan is? It's my membership. Right? That's what good guides do. And if you do this in your sales copy, people are like, yes, give me the plan. Give me the steps. I mentioned Dave Ramsey a lot as a good example. He's a financial coach and author. He has made a fortune positioning himself as a guide to help people be the hero in their story, to do their debt-free screams, to achieve financial independence and financial peace. And he does it not just through good advice, but giving them a 7-step plan. He calls them his baby steps. It's like, first do this, then do this, then do this. People are like, oh, thank you, a plan. Like money is so overwhelming for people. He gives them a plan. I do this with online business. People buy my course, Automatic Income Academy, not so that I can give them some tips. I give them the whole process to go from like no clue how this business model even works to not only like then launching your product and making money, but automating it every step of the way. That's a plan. I don't need to be the hero. I need to be the guide. And same with you. Does that make sense? Those are the 3 steps. Clearly know and articulate your customers' problems, both external and internal, right? You want to know what failure are they trying to avoid? That's the bad ending of the story. You got to know that, be able to like communicate that. That's if you use that language, they'll feel empathy. Yeah, I don't want that to happen, Graham. You're right. And also on the flip, what success or happy ending are they trying to achieve? If you can articulate that, that makes a great headline. It makes a great hook, right? People are like, yeah, that's what I want. Step 2, remember your customer is the hero in the story, not you. You're the guide. They're the hero. You're the guide. So don't be the guru. Don't pump yourself up or your product up. Don't talk about your product much at all until you need to. Talk about them and position yourself as the guide to come alongside. And 3, give them a plan. Don't just give them advice. Give them a step-by-step plan. So that's all that's left for the customer, aka the hero, is just to take action. You can't make them take action. You can call them to action, which is something Donald Miller talks about. Is call the hero to action. All good guides do. Gandalf encourages Frodo, you must go, but Frodo still has to go. Your customer still has to choose to buy it or not, but you can at least tee them up and give them the plan. I love this example. We'll use an example from Donald Miller's story brand of how this looks in Star Wars. If you're familiar with that, it's a pretty popular movie. You might have heard of it. If you're like my wife, she has no clue what the heck happens in Star Wars. So this example would fall on deaf ears to her. But we all know she's the one missing out. So whatever. Whatever, Shay. But in Star Wars, you've got who? Luke Skywalker. He's the hero. Obviously. He's got 2 problems, an external and an internal problem. The external problem is he's got to defeat the Empire. Like, dude, the Empire is going to take over. He's got to stop them. That's a problem. External problem. Internal problem. Is he a Jedi? Can he be a Jedi like his father? Are Jedis finished? Is he good enough to be a Jedi? Is he too old to be trained as a Jedi? He's like, he wants to be a Jedi. So he's got this internal conflict. That's his internal problem. And then there's also, if you want to go in one layer deep, Donald Miller talks about philosophical problems, and he struggles with the good versus evil. am I good or am I evil? Like in The Empire Strikes Back, where he like fights Darth Vader and then he like cuts off his head and sees inside the mask it's actually him, and he's like, oh crap, am I going to turn into my dad? Am I good? Am I evil? That's a philosophical problem. We don't have to get into that. I don't think you have to dive too much into that to sell an online course, but that's the problem. External, stop the bad guys, stop the evil empire, stop the Vader. Internal problem, am I a Jedi? Am I good enough to be a Jedi? He meets a guide. Who's his guide? Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's an old dude. A lot of times guides and stories are positioned as older, wiser sages, but literally he's an old guy wearing a robe, same as Gandalf, right? And he gives Luke, he doesn't try to be the hero. He doesn't say, Luke, I'm going to go stop Obi-Wan, or I'm going to stop Darth Vader. He says, you're going to stop him, and here's how you're going to do it. He gives them a plan. The plan is you got to trust the Force. You have to learn the ways of the Force, trust the Force. That's the plan. We got to go and find Darth Vader and stop him. Right? And so he goes, and that's like success for Luke is to go and defeat the Empire and become a Jedi like his father, right? If he does that, then the rebellion survives and the Empire is defeated. If he doesn't do that, the failure that he's trying to avoid is that like the rebellion's crushed and everything's over. So like you see those same steps flowing through Star Wars. They flow through Lord of the Rings. They flow through the Hunger Games. I mean, like they flow through every story. There's always a hero. There's always a guide, right? There's always a plan. There's always a problem, external, internal. There's always a happy ending, but a potential for a bad ending. People resonate with story. And that's all Donald Miller is saying, that if you don't have to tell stories necessarily in your sales copy, although they are powerful, but you must understand that your customer or potential customer is living their own story. They are the hero of their story. They have problems, they have fears, and they have a success they're trying to reach. And if you can position yourself as the guide and come alongside them and give them a plan, it makes writing sales copy so much easier. It makes connecting with them so much easier. And man, everyone wins. They're going to enjoy your sales copy. They're going to probably buy. They're going to get results. You're going to make money. It's all good. So go check out Donald Miller's Story Brand, Building a Story Brand book. It's a great book, and he'll dive real deep into this kind of stuff. And then also, like I said at the top of this, I want to give you a tool. It's my 5-minute sales copy framework, and it's a simple guide. Download it. Click the link below or go to grahamcochran.com/copy. Take 5 minutes to answer the questions. It's going to be some of this similar stuff of like identifying who your customer is. What problem are they trying to solve? What problem does your product solve, or problems? And it's going to ask some basic questions that I think are going to give you some fodder, some resources to then use to write your sales copy without overthinking it. You don't want to have to reach for like markety speak. Like that's not what sells. What sells is you having empathy and connecting with your hero, the customer, and identifying with their problems and their desires and positioning yourself as the guide that can help them achieve those successes and avoid those problems and failures. Does that make sense? This guide will help you do it. Then you'll be able to go write your own sales copy from it. So download that. We are going to turn it to Q&A. So if you want, I'm happy to dive into any questions you have about what we covered. No, UJ Sammy, even if you're late, you can watch the replay. You're never late. We had some Lord of the Rings fans. Kriva says, you can go to sleep now. You've done enough good for today already. Bro, I'm just getting started. But thank you. Appreciate it. Manda Hall says, thank you for sharing how the Story Brand framework works in your business. Yes, absolutely. It's a great resource. Yeah, what questions can I answer for you guys while we have a few minutes here? Anything about sales copy or this process? Love to help you out. Ace Wave Studios, can you give an example of telling a story to sell? Yeah, so in my sales video for my course, Automatic Income Academy, I tell the story of when I was working in corporate America and I hated my job. And I talk about every Sunday night, I would walk out to the edge of my driveway and pull my trash can to the curb. And I talk about how I felt in my heart of like, oh, like tomorrow's Monday. I got to go back in the office and like, I feel stuck. And I would literally like look up at the sky and look at the stars. And I would pray, God, like, help me to get out of the situation. I hate my job. I feel guilty because I feel like I should be grateful because I have a good job, but I don't like it. I dread going in every Monday and I feel like I'm meant for more. And all I'm doing is telling the story of when I was 22, 23, 24, stuck in that place. Why? Because it's relatable, because people identify with it. They can picture themselves taking the trash out at night and being like, oh, I got to go into work tomorrow. And I'm trying to show empathy of like, look, I know how it feels to be in a season of your life where you're doing work that you kind of feel like stuck in. You're like, this isn't me. This isn't what I'm made for. That's one example of how I tell a simple story for people to go, yeah, dude, that's totally me. Totally me. I hope that helps. That's not the complete story, but it's an example of story. Wade, what's up, brother? Just download a story brand. Read it, love it. He makes it so simple. I did a whole master class for my six-figure coaching community on the story brand framework. It's so good. Let's see. Endlik Jura says, I'm in the middle of building a Black Friday bundle with all my courses and also a new one. If you only had 4 weeks left and all you had were an outline and a couple of notes, how would you go about it? Oh, to build the new course? I mean, what I would do is make sure, so every good product should have a promise. So what I would do is I would write out until I got it right a few times in one sentence what the promise of this course is. When you take this course, if you implement this course, here's the promise. You will lose 30 pounds more than likely. You will build a business that generates $5,000 a month automatically. What is the promise of the course? And then what are the steps that you're going to take them through? Is it 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps? Those might be the modules. And then in those steps, what are you going to teach them? Bullet those out. And do they have to be individual videos? Is it getting too long or can it be one long video? You can decide how that's going to go. And then honestly, I would flesh out a sales page from it even before you sold it or built it, because the good outline can lead to a good sales page. What's the promise? What's the problem it's going to solve? All the stuff we just talked about. Paint a picture of success for your customer. Paint a picture of failure. And then if you don't have time to film it, then sell it as like a live training that they're going to get access to, but you're going to teach it 1 week at a time. And you could launch it at Black Friday, and then you can go live once a week or twice a week and sell it. Kriva says, do you create a character in your mind thinking this is the person who will feel related to the story, or do you just flow with the story you have in mind? Yes, great question. So I do create like a customer avatar, right? Like a profile of the typical kind of person that would benefit from this product. And so I have a whole document that I create for that customer avatar. And you're making a lot of this stuff up, but it's like a fictional person who embodies your ideal customer. How old are they? Are they a man or a woman, or is it both? What season of life are they in? What kind of things do they say to themselves? Where do they work? What does their day look like? Like all this kind of stuff. And you get more specific based off of, the niche you're in. If you're a fitness person, you're going to talk about their physical body, and you're going to talk about how they feel in a bathing suit, like all that stuff. They went to the beach last week for vacation and they were super, ashamed of their body. Like, you're going to write that stuff because that's hard. That's real. So I have a customer avatar. And then what I do, even when I do a video like this, is I have that avatar in mind. I started my first business, The Recording Revolution, literally imagining 2 or 3 of my friends who are musicians. Every time I shot a video, every time I wrote a blog post, I was writing it for those friends, those actual friends. I didn't mention them by name, but I kept them in the front of my mind because I knew what kind of questions they had. I knew what kind of things they were trying to accomplish. I knew where they were getting stuck. Why? Because I talked to them all the time. So I always would make my content for those people over and over and over again. And then what that did was it created clear positioning that my audience could either identify with or not. I don't care about reaching everybody. I just care about reaching the people that I know I can sell to and the people that I can help. And so I just continue to keep that 1 or 2 or 3 types of people in front of my mind at all times. Really good question. Simple Option Trading says, this is a story brand for my flagship course. I can also use it for a mini course. For everything. Use it for everything. The only way to sell anything is to address the problems, the desires, be the guide, give them a plan. Your mini course is going to do the same thing. So yes, I would apply it to that as well. Amner says, thanks, Graham. Yes, following your advice, I started focusing on the needs of my audience and the audience started to grow. I kept doing that. My audience started to grow and grow. That is awesome. I love it. Extended Universe says, I think you can also tell a success story that will make them aim for that feeling you just gave them. Yeah, I think there's a way to do that well, where you're sharing a story. A good story has tension. A good story has relatability to it, where the person can see themselves in the story. So if you're going to tell a story of your success, you have to. I like to say it this way, and I think I learned this specifically from Ray Edwards, who writes amazing material on sales copy. He has a great book called How to Write Copy That Sells. It's a short book. Go read it. Ray Edwards. The story of struggle. He always talks about, I think I learned it from him. Share your story of struggle. And so the story of should have a struggle in it. That struggle is what people relate to. That you're giving empathy. You're saying, yeah, that's a real problem. I'm not making fun of your problem. I'm not making light of your problem. I'm not even just like, there's guys out there that just all they do is show the flash. All they do is show the wealth. And their thinking is, if I drive around in my Rolls Royce and if I wear a $3,000 watch and if I show you my office space with all my employees that are well dressed and I talk about how much money I have, you're going to be like, oh, I want to be like him. And they're kind of half right. I think it really is a disservice to them and their potential customers, because they should share more of, and they maybe do from time to time, more of the struggle they had. Start there, because more people can identify with their struggle. I lost everything in the Great Recession. I was broke. I was living on my mom's couch. Like, okay, that's real. And don't just say like, oh, I used to suck like you, but now I'm great. No, like really like tease out like how you felt. Show your humanity, show the fears and the insecurities you have. That allows people to go, wow, he empathized with me. Yeah, that's how I feel. He's human. She's human. She struggled. So spend enough time on the struggle. And then, yes, you can get to your success story. That's why a lot of times I'll share how I lost 2 jobs during the Great Recession and was on food stamps for 18 months. And I was ashamed of that. I was embarrassed about that. It was awful. And I like to share that part of the story because people can identify with, or at least feel bad for me and know that, wow, there was a dark part of his life where he felt not only that he had no money, which is just not fun, but he felt like his identity was under attack. Like, who am I if I can't even provide for my family? That allows then my story of like, I stumbled through blogging and YouTube and figured out that you can sell courses. I didn't even know that was a thing, to being able to make 6 figures, to be able to make over $1 million a year, then doing it again in a second business. Like, it allows that success that's maybe aspirational to have more impact because of where I came from. So yes, I feel like you do want to give them that feeling. I agree with you, but it's also more powerful when you share the humanity and the struggle before that. Bethany, what's up? The Monday dread is real. It's honestly why my husband and I work extra hard now for ourselves, because we never want that feeling again. But now we're trying not to work too hard. Yeah, that's great. Somebody asked me, I totally identify that, Bethany. Somebody asked me in my my membership coaching call last week what they think my superpower is, or my sharpest tool in my business toolbox. And I think I told them it's discipline. It's showing up consistently. And I think I wasn't disciplined until I lost everything, until I was broke and afraid, and just trying to pay the mortgage and keep food on the table and embarrassed. And I felt like I never want to feel this again. And that is a powerful thing. It's also a negative thing, because I think that made me very driven. And you can fall into a scarcity mindset of, I will do whatever it takes to never be in that place of want or need or lack again. And it makes you like either work too hard or overwork or never relax. And I've had to work through a lot of that and come to a place of peace. And I don't trust in myself. I trust in God to provide for me. But I think that discipline of like, I'm never gonna let this happen again, came out of that fear. And so there's some good that came out of it, made me a very disciplined person. I have posted content every week for 12 years straight. And some people think that's remarkable. I just think that that's like a baseline, what I should do. because I'm like, dude, that's all I can control. I can't control YouTube. I can't control Google. I can't control Apple in changing their privacy settings. Like, I can't control any of that crap. So I don't worry about that. I worry about the things I can control, but a lot of that came from, don't want to be in this place again. Patrick says, first time catching a YouTube live. Grateful that it's this. I appreciate all your content. Joining Kajabi soon, and your content is helping me prepare. Huge thanks. Love it, dude. Love that photo. I'd love to know more about your business. That's super cool. Zan the man, you're always here early, bro. I think I saw you in the chat at like 3 hours before we went live. Okay, sorry, there's two parts. Can you talk briefly about your upsell strategy on your thank you page? And if you can reveal, what's your conversion rate of sales from your thank you page upsell? So to your first question, yeah, there's no one upsell strategy, but upselling, if you don't know, is anytime you've ever, been to a restaurant, and McDonald's is the king of this. You order, I want a hamburger, I want a Big Mac, I want the chicken nuggets. They say, oh, great. Would you like fries with that? Like 3 powerful words. I'm going to do a piece of content on this, but would you like? Some of the 3 easiest words in the world you could simply ask to somebody. It's so innocuous. It's so gentle, and it puts the ball in their court, which is the way you want to do sales. And so they're just asking you, that's great. I'm happy to sell you a Big Mac. Would you like fries with that also? That is an upsell. You have already decided to buy something. So now you're no longer being sold to. You're like, yes, I'm here to buy this thing. And all they're doing is offering you something else. Technically, an upsell is something more expensive than what you're buying. So they want to move you into something more expensive. And a downsell is something cheaper. A cross sell is something similar. Maybe if it's not a good fit. But I use the word upsell for any type of additional thing you want to sell to them at the point of sale. So Kajabi does an amazing job on this. A lot of platforms, I think, do this too, where once they've decided to buy your course and they type in their credit card information and click buy, then it takes them to a one-page video or text that offers them something else. And they can say yes or no. And if they say yes, you don't have to enter your credit card again. It just adds it to your order, right? Amazon does this too. You buy something on Amazon, and right below it's like, would you also like this? You buy a camera, you could buy a phone, and it's going to say, would you also like a case to fit that phone? Would you also like an extended warranty? You buy a DSLR like the one I'm talking to now. Would you like memory cards? Would you like additional batteries? Would you like a tripod? These are all upsells. Very simple, very innocuous. So my strategy, Zan, is to try to always have an upsell. Always, always, always. And it's just a simple, hey, thanks for buying this. I know you're going to love it. I think you would also like this. Here's why I think you would love it. Would you like it? Yes or no? It's a simple question. And so it's either I'll upsell into another mini course. If they buy my flagship course, I'll upsell them to a mini course. Sometimes if it's a really low priced course, I'll upsell them into a separate course that's even more expensive. I've done free trainings that then I sell like a recording to. And if you buy that, I'll upsell you into my flagship course that it will really expand on the material. I've upsold into a membership. Really, it just comes down to, what do you think they would also like? And also, what do you think would pair nicely with this? You could upsell to one-on-one coaching. Like literally, they could buy your course and then you could upsell them on a 1 call with you for a certain price, or a 3 call package that's heavily discounted. Hey, I saw you bought my course. Would you like my personalized coaching alongside this? Normally I charge $1,000 a month, but I want to offer you 3 months of coaching for just $1,500. So, 50% off. That might be a lot of money and way more than the course, but it's a deal. And it might get them to consider, like, oh, maybe I'll upsell into that. And to your other question, Zan, I think the upsell conversion rate is different depending on the product. I think my conversion rates are anywhere between 12% and 25%. It just depends on the offer and the upsell. Krivas says order bump versus upsell. I'm a bigger fan of upsells. Because I can put, at least in Kajabi, I can shoot a video for it. The order bump is just text. But you can always do both. Culinary Exploration says, I just joined Kajabi and would like to say a big thanks for your content, which pointed me in the right direction. Awesome. So glad that was helpful. I'm excited for your Kajabi journey. Awesome. Any other questions? This has been a great discussion. If you haven't already, again, I'll just put this up here. Grab my 5-minute sales copy framework and just download it. Answer the questions, and then that's going to give you a bunch of text and ideas and basically jumping off points to write any kind of sales copy for anything you're selling. It just makes it easier. I think when we start to write sales copy, we look at a blank page, or we pull up a sales page in Kajabi, like a template or something, and we just like, our minds just go blank, and we're like, what like marketing speak have I ever been exposed to? I'll just copy that or copy someone's sales page. Please don't do that. It's not going to work very well for you. And it doesn't have to be that hard. Understand these foundational things, the stuff we talked about in today's live, apply it, and then just communicate to your people with like authenticity and help them. Be the guide. They're the hero. You're going to do great. Amazing. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the questions. If you missed part of it, the replay will be up in a second when we're done. And I will be here next Wednesday, same time, same place, for another Live with Graham. So I look forward to seeing you there. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. See you, everybody.